Greetings, YouTube. Long time no see.
Greetings to you, random citizen. Although by long time you weren't lying. I have absolutely no idea who you are. So literally infinite time of not seeing you. That's pretty impressive. Anyway, what have you got for us today, newly non-strangered person? Hopefully not something really silly.
Normally we talk about technical things related to photography and Darktable and all that stuff, but today we got something a little bit different than our normal discourse.
Normally? Oh, but that sounds kind of fun. I would much rather be doing that than, well, whatever you're going to be doing at us today, because this is a Sir Sick video, and when is it not a topic that makes me want to tear my own face off and replace it with a bag of donkey scrotums?
And I recognize with the content of this video, it's possible I risk losing many subscribers, and you want to know what? To be honest with you, I don't care.
Right, let's stop beating around the bush and point out that this video is in fact called Photography Proves God. And well, considering that you live on planet Earth, which has a religious population of most of them, I find that highly unlikely. The people who don't care about your God claims will be a minority, more than likely, since I doubt you would have cultivated a specifically secular audience, and they probably just won't watch this video. And those who do care would almost certainly love it, as people generally enjoy having their opinions said back at them. And that's true for everyone, like how my audience love it when I tell them how attractive I am and that I own all the whiskey. They eat that shit up. But ultimately, it doesn't matter how much you can't not tell your truth. That doesn't make it actually truth. But that is only because it's almost certainly bollocks.
Why, you ask? Well, to be perfectly honest, I didn't make this YouTube channel for some kind of fame or attention or subscribers. I mean, I got the subscribers and all that bag of chips and all that, but...
Didn't ask, don't care. But okay, good for you. Genuinely not sure why you felt the need to bring it up, since that's pretty much why most people start a YouTube channel, especially if they have like little to no media experience. So you're going to have no idea if what you say is going to resonate with all that many people. But it does tie into an accusation that I get from time to time, which is that I must be a narcissist because I make YouTube videos, and that I would like it if people see them. As if that isn't my fucking job, and as if a person can't enjoy doing performance and discussion without having to have a severe personality disorder. I can only assume what they truly mean is you do that and you have some small amount of success. But pro tip, if you use words that you don't understand to describe people that you don't like, shut the fuck up. Although ultimately your specific implication is a little strange, that you don't care if anyone sees your videos? Well, then why do you put them on YouTube at all? I know I wouldn't put mine up if I didn't want people to ever see them. It would kind of defeat the purpose.
I made this channel because I wanted to take the genuine thoughts and experiences I've had regarding photography and potentially even life, and actually share them with other people, maybe that it might mean something to somebody else.
Okay, again, great, but your motives, whether they're the purest of holier-than-thou floating on a cloud of nonsense, or that you want to be the world's most famous good-looking person, although that role has been filled, are ultimately irrelevant to your attempts to do a proving of the God that you are about to try. And that's because no matter your reasons for doing something, that cannot and will not prevent you from being wrong.
And I did promise a nugget of proof in this video, and I'm not pulling your leg. Stick around to the later end of this video, and I'll show you.
Well, we shall definitely be checking that out at some point, and I love that you called it a nugget. Because while that word is often associated with gold, a high-value material, it's equally applicable to little pieces of shit. But I'm sure that won't be what your proof actually is.
Intrigued yet? Well, grab a cup of coffee, stick around, and let's talk about God.
Well, no, first off, I have my own much better beverage. Although, chuck it in a mocha coffee and you've got something special to get you through work. If anything, you sound exactly like every other religious dipshit who thinks they have found the truth, while spouting a bunch of asinine garbage and acting like they are better than everyone else, while doing things that are completely normal for the most part, like making YouTube channels because you wanted to make a YouTube channel. It's not exactly impressive.
Friends, I absolutely love photographing deer. They are so gentle and they are so majestic. And I had this experience a couple months ago where I had the opportunity to witness the birth of a young fawn. And it was amazing and it was beautiful. And I totally forgot my camera.
Okay, first thing, I don't know about you, but it looks to me like had that deer known it was being stalked by some snap-happy weirdo, it wouldn't have been super happy about it. And second, way to lose points for the God Squad. Here's this incredible, probably once-in-a-lifetime moment, at least from your perspective, in front of an avowed photographer, someone so into the hobby that they spent a large amount of time in their life sharing it with thousands of strangers. And you forgot your fucking camera? Where the fuck was God during that auspicious moment? That's right, not existing. Otherwise, he would have reminded you that maybe you should take that thing that you always have with you. Also, it's really weird that you showed what is clearly phone camera footage, as if anyone at this point ever doesn't have one of those on them at literally every waking moment. It makes me think that what you actually saw was nothing, and then you made this story up.
But it ended up being one of the best things that ever happened to me. Why, you might ask? Well, instead of focusing all my mental energy into just getting that perfect shot, I actually had time just to sit down and just watch and experience it with my own eyes and just feel and enjoy what was actually happening. Just experiencing it.
Ah, of course, the old, if X happened today, everyone would just be watching it on their phones. I'm a very smart person. Tweet. The indictment of quote-unquote society, a critique as common as it is incredibly fucking stupid. Do you know what you can do while you film something? You can actually watch it with your own eyes. Yeah, sure, you might check to make sure that you've got it framed properly, but you can still be very much present regardless of holding a piece of technology in your hand. Also, you know that giving birth is a pretty stationary process, and it takes a long ass time, in most cases at least. So you could almost certainly have plopped a camera down and then had more than enough time to focus on the actual event itself. This isn't some profound moment of meaning, it's just a skill issue on your part, mate.
And you know, this experience with the fawn really pulled on my heartstrings. And it's because I have a personal experience when I was born. You see,
you had a personal experience when you were born, did you? Wow, that's amazing. Because of course most people's births are so abstracted from them. Nothing to do with their personal lives at all. And you know, watching an animal fall out of another animal, I never really understood the appeal. Now, if a barrel of whiskey came out of them, not only would that be impressive, but then you could wet the baby's head with the contents of the baby. It's a win-win.
I never mentioned this on my channel before, but when I was born, I was supposed to die. You see, the very day I was born, they realized I had a heart defect on my pulmonary valve. And I learned recently, actually, that more than 100 people prayed for me that day. That I'd make it and be here to tell the tale. I am.
So let me get this straight. God, presumably, decided to fuck up your heart, and then 100 whoever's, certainly not God's, said, "Oi, God, no! You're not supposed to screw with people's left ventricle valve." And God, who is perfect and makes no mistakes, went, "Whoops, sorry boss, I'll just fix that real quick." I'm not really buying it, because what I imagine actually happened is you had a problem caused by God or no, were then extremely fortunate to be born in a modern hospital setting, and a bunch of highly skilled doctors and nurses worked tirelessly to save your fucking life. And then for some reason, you've decided not to thank them, but some random assholes who did less than nothing. And another asshole who, if he exists, apparently wanted you dead in the first place.
And I look back at this and realize that life is such a miracle. And I saw that through the birth of that fawn. And
it really isn't. And considering your own story, it shows the opposite. It's a very grounded, natural process that often requires human intervention to prevent horrific things from going terribly wrong. If it were a true miracle, a person would be walking around, decide, you know what, I think I'm finally ready to be a parent. And then the offspring would appear fully grown, give the parent a handshake, and immediately leave forever to get a job in an accounting firm. It's just beautiful, really.
You know, I've been photographing landscapes, animals, the night sky for many, many years now. And I've been looking through this lens. And
look, man, I'm not trying to be a prick for once in my life, a true miracle, but those pictures are a bit underwhelming. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure I couldn't have done any better. Probably not even as good. But, like, of all the pictures in your presumably quite large library, those were the ones that you chose to demonstrate all your years of experience. I mean, damn.
I never asked myself, was the evidence for God right in front of my very eyeballs? And was I too arrogant to see it?
Oh my God, dude, what are you doing? That really doesn't help your case. I know you're trying to make a visual point, but it just makes you look even more like you don't know how cameras or lenses work. Also, note to self, thumbnail right in there.
All right, so now it's about to get real. I want to share another experience with you guys.
Sake, this guy thinks that the plural of anecdote really is evidence, doesn't he? No, dude, your experiences aren't real. And, I mean, okay, they might be. They could have happened, maybe. Whatever they are, but the idea they in any way would or could demonstrate God is utterly ridiculous. Considering the very title of this video, there's one thing you could have done to prove him, but for some reason, no one has ever photographed the guy. I'm starting to think that he doesn't do the real.
All right, so about a year ago, I started having some really weird dreams.
Oh, are you fucking kidding me right now? So not only are we not getting real in an evidentiary sense ideas, we aren't even talking about fucking reality. Dude, your dreams that, by the way, you can't take photos of, just in case you didn't know, because just like God, they aren't real. Well, in the case of dreams, real events, but still, they don't prove shit and are a product of your own brain doing whatever wacky shit it does while you're asleep. There's literally nothing profound about them. They are very normal, even when they are super weird. Jesus fucking Christ.
Two in particular, and precursor, I was in a really good place emotionally. My YouTube channel was thriving. I had maybe some 3,000 or so subscribers at the time. My marriage was thriving and doing really good. I was pretty happy emotionally. I was really happy with my life.
Well, look at this fucking show off. He's been happy at some point in his life, prick. And probably a lying one too. I mean, everyone knows happiness is not real, right? I mean, it's not just a me thing, sitting sad and alone in my underpants making YouTube videos where I take the piss out of people for making stupid arguments, yeah? No, you're crying.
And out of nowhere, I just had this really weird dream. I was by my parents' old bed in the house I grew up in, and all of a sudden I felt like I was being suffocated to death. And I vaguely remember maybe the presence of a serpent or something, and I thought I was going to die. It was terrible. And just out of nowhere, something just came and punched my arm, and I woke up, and I was like, what the just happened? And I felt like someone had literally just socked my arm. It scared the shit out of me.
Right, do I have to be the one who tells him? Happily married? No, it sounds like your wife was trying to strangle you, dude. And then when she realized you were going to wake up before the job was done, she decided she'd get a little dig into the shoulder before sprinting out of the room to go look nonchalant elsewhere in the building. That or you got yourself tied up in your bed sheets. Your body freaked out and you strained your shoulder. We've all done it.
And I was scared. I was kind of terrified, honestly, and I don't even think I went back to bed after that. And kind of in my thoughts, I just thought to myself, what if something about the way I thought isn't working the way I thought it was?
Or you had a bad dream and you really shouldn't read too deep into it for fuck's sake. I don't think if God was trying to communicate with you, he would be so damn obtuse about it. If anything, the fact that you now think that there was something wrong based on that, again, not reality, is more than likely going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. There must be something wrong because of this not real thing, therefore I will find the wrong thing. Whatever you find after that, you are going to attribute to this vague intuition. Had you not had the dream, you either would have found anyway or wasn't actually a big enough deal for you to even notice. So what difference did it actually make?
What if maybe things were different than I thought it was? Like, we always ask to ourselves, how are we right? But we never ask, how might we be wrong?
That sounds like a you problem, dude. I constantly try to figure out how I'm wrong. Frankly, it's a bit of a problem sometimes. It makes doing DIY a fucking nightmare. But I do think that it makes me better at doing this than I otherwise might be. But your assumption that everybody thinks that they're correct all the time just proves that you think that you are right all the time. Or at least you did, until a fucking dream of all things gave you pause. Where, hooray, I guess. But it would have been better if you had gained that ability to question yourself from learning actual critical thinking instead of a dream told me.
Am I wrong?
Yes, probably about so many fucking things, largely because it appears you base your understanding of reality on things that aren't real, like not having a camera, or the prayers of random people, aka them doing nothing, and the fact that you had a spooky dream. Even if you had 1,000 things like those happen to you over and over and over again, that would have zero impact on their validity of proving anything other than shit happens.
And to be honest, I went that day into my basement, and my wife, her grandmother had this King James Bible, and she left it with us, and I started reading it very nervously. And
I don't know why you did so nervously. It's a book. It's not going to fucking bite you. Although that is a shockingly fancy looking Bible. Jesus would have been proud, I'm sure. Also, what would have happened if your wife's Mima had been, say, Hindu or Muslim or any other religion? Would that have been the same experience? Well, I think one of two things would have happened. They would have done absolutely nothing because you weren't culturally primed to believe non-Christian ideas, or it would have worked the same because you weren't doing this out of a genuine attempt at intellectual discovery, but emotional response to feeling bad. That's not a great place to discover anything, even resembling truth from.
I started reading the first book in the New Testament, which is the book of Matthew, and I had another dream that night, and I saw Jesus in a dream, and it was remarkable. The most remarkable dream I've ever had.
So yeah, you primed yourself for an experience, and shockingly, you had that experience. Yeah, it must be because God does the real, and not the fact that humans are shockingly easy to manipulate into certain thought patterns, especially when they are trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. You know, like dreams.
And he was just looking at me. He's like, son, you sure I don't exist, bro? Well, have fun with that in the morning. And sure I did. And here I am now on YouTube sharing my story with you.
Are you taking the piss? That is what convinced you that Jesus does the real. I feel like I'm being fucking clowned on. That is the most pathetic non-demonstration of fucking anything I have ever heard. That is the most you version of Jesus that could ever exist. And it acted like you, at you, and at no point did you ever consider that maybe that shit might have been coming from you. No, of course not, because you're a fucking moron.
So friends, like, context here, like, I grew up with a physics background. I have a physics education, my undergraduate's in physics, my master's in space studies, and very technically cerebral-minded person, and
I don't fucking believe you. I think you typed, what am a big brain smart guy say to do the sounding smart? And then just used that. And I only think you Googled it because space studies is an actual thing apparently, which shocked the shit out of me because it sounds like a made up degree. But the fact of the matter is that a cerebral-minded person just wouldn't be this fucking stupid.
I also grew up in, I hated religion. I hated Christianity. I grew up in a Christian household, and I hated going to churches with smelly carpets and old people. And I hated how some people who espoused to be like really good Christians were very judgmental and very nasty to me. And it like really pushed me away. And I felt like everything was so rigid. And I felt like I just had to fit into this cookie cutter that I could never possibly fit. It wasn't what I wanted.
Okay, let's say that is true. The problem with people who emotional their way out of a worldview, well, it's very, very easy to emotion your way back in. But the problem with that is you shouldn't hold any position simply because of your feelings. You should hold them because you've reasoned yourself into that perspective. Anything else is meaningless horseshit that can change because you had a fucking dream one time. What exactly happens when you have another dream and Stephen Hawking tells you to stop being such a dumbass, eh?
And that was my perception of Christianity. And I learned as I started reading this book and just changing my paradigms that I was totally and completely wrong.
No, you were right. People treated you like shit, and they did so because of that book. Just because you took a different reading of it this time that's all sweetness and light doesn't mean that the things that made those people around you act like complete assholes isn't still there. They're getting it from somewhere. All you have done is demonstrate the absolute subjectivity of interpreting religious texts. You haven't extracted facts. You have merely found what you wanted to find, whether it's actually there or not. And now he's just going to Jesus and God at us for a minute or so. So we're going to skip ahead a bit to his actual truth nugget.
All right. And I promised you that nugget of proof, and here it is. So God must have really wanted to humble me in my scientific ass, because I learned later that the King James Bible that was originally put together in 1611 is mathematically perfect in ways that we simply can't explain with a rational mind.
Yep, I thought so. It's less a nugget and more of a shit smear. And even that is giving it way too much fucking credit. Because of course he's unable to actually articulate it. It's unsurprising, because something irrational and mathematically impossible won't be explicable to any degree, fucking obviously.
And it seems to defy what is mathematically possible. Don't believe me? Well, go check out Brandon Peterson's channel at Truth in Christ and check out some of his videos. I've linked one below. What he does has absolutely blown my mind, and it's kind of it's really humbled me, but it's also amazing. And I wanted to share that with you, that it might mean something to you and might intrigue you. Give it a shot.
And of course, he was never even going to attempt to explain it. It's just, trust me, bro, check out this totally smart guy I found that wasn't even competent enough to equip me with a basic explanation that I could give to you. So why the fuck should I believe that he's done anything that you claim? Frankly, the only thing I want to give a shot is my own fucking nutsack. It sounds more fun than watching that bullshit. Oh, and I just realized his photography proving God thing was the lack of photography proving God. So surprising for an apologist to say the opposite of what they mean. I think that there's a word for that, and it rhymes with bye.